So a couple of years ago, when I was a VC, I sat on those board seats and watched other VCs interact with founders, interact amongst each other, and I wondered, who is that person who helps people figure out what their kind of clarity is, what their opinions are, and how they make these sometimes difficult decisions, but also how to stay human at the core. And I was very junior at the time. I thought, well, maybe behind closed doors, there's someone who does that. And over time, I realized, no, there's no one. And so that then turned into me thinking, maybe I could provide that for the community, for the venture community. And so here I am, I'm gonna say eight or 10 years later, doing exactly that. That's a difficult question. So there's this dilemma where structurally venture funds, investment funds are set up in a diversified fashion. And it makes perfect sense. If we're making risky investments, we take these bets as investors, we need to diversify for the entirety of the portfolio to be successful, right? And to provide a return. But in the end, that also means we need to invest for an average fund in the early stages into 20, 25 businesses at the least, which means there are at least 20, probably more like 50 to 70 founders that we have to look after. And now to try to provide services in that sense, to invest our time into the relationships with 20, 50 or 70 founders is literally impossible. It doesn't work. At the most I can have, at the moment I have like 14 clients. I'm fully booked. There is no space at all. And I'm not making any investment decisions. I'm not raising any funds. And I'm probably more efficient than VCs would be because that's the only thing I do all the time. And so there's this inbuilt misalignment between what we call in the industry, in the venture industry, founder-friendly or founder support, and the notion of portfolio diversification, which is needed. It's at the foundation of what we do. So what I've realized over the years is that my investor colleagues, my former investor colleagues, they send a lot of founders to me and come to me with questions that are pretty coaching 101, pretty basic. Things that with very basic, let's say, mediation skills, conflict resolution skills, very basic, feedback training that you can pass on to the people you work with, questioning skills. You can actually probably handle 80% of the load, and then you can forward the actual complex cases that take a lot of time, where it's maybe even not a great idea to have an investor perform or deliver this kind of coaching. And so to be able to take like the first one or two steps working with those founders would just make the whole thing much easier and probably way more efficient for the investors as well. The reason I started this practice was to work with my community. I didn't think about what are the ways to, make a lot of money through coaching, but I was already here and I wanted to provide to this community. And frankly, it's also the reason I'm here at SuperVenture, because this is where the community meets. And on the other hand, venture investors and venture-backed founders are a special kind of breed. They I don't want to say they suffer, but there is a special pressure in this community to perform in a specific way. There's also a special language, a way of acting, a way of being. I mean, you see it here in the hallways, frankly. And so there are very, very few people who speak this language, who know this community, and who provide services in coaching specifically. I mean, there are tons of M&A advisors and tons of marketing advisors, but they tend to be more in a specific functional area. And so for me, the question, especially at the end of my kind of full-time venture tenure, was, if I really say I want to build great relationships and work with people, then how can I stay 100% true to that and cut out all the other nonsense? No fundraising, no investing, no software, just people. And that's where I am today.